As you recall, last week when we were talking during the session, I mentioned to you that the feature currency that we'll be focusing on last week was the euro, and primarily the reason we did that was the amount of negative information that, hi Paula, how are you, that was being in the market, if you will, about how negative the situation with the euro zone and how negative what's happening in Greece, and they're looking at maybe the Greek will get out of the eurozone, or and all the stuff. I mean, you don't need me to repeat to you all the negative information that was being dispensed, and I literally mean the word dispensed, in the market all of last week about the negative what's happening in the euro and in the eurozone. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what happened to the euro. From 142, that was, I mean, this is the index for the euro as a whole from last week. And with all the negativity that is being dispensed recklessly, everybody is giving his or her opinion and pontificating, or whatever you want to call the term is, about getting rid of the euro. You don't see anything? Anastasia, everybody can see the chart. Refresh your screen. Refresh your screen, Anastasia. Everybody can see. I have another computer. I can see my mouse moving. Alright. I mean, one guy on CNBC, I'm not going to mention his name, he was saying that he does not understand. Who can't see again? Alright, I'll now do you see, guys? Somebody tell me yes or no, please. Okay, good. One of the anchors on CNBC in the morning was saying that he does not think that the market is correct about buying the euro, and he cannot find a way to convince himself to buy the euro, because everything that is fundamentally discussed about the euro points that the euro should crash, and even the eurozone will be dismantled, and therefore he's not going to do anything with the euro. And this, guys, this is what's happening. That is the move. This means if he did nothing, if he simply did nothing, and the euro went up from 142, let's say, to 146, this means it went up, what, to 3%, about 3%, I would say about between, let's say, I'm just going to do the math, 3%, he would have made 3% on his whole net worth. If he was short the euro, he lost 3% on whatever stake he put to go short the euro because of his opinion. And if he did buy the euro, he would have made 3% within the span of 5 days. Okay? And I'm just showing you this because that was the focus. Again, that's the behavior it was that we had on the chart on Friday. and that's or on Saturday, and that's how we looked and decided to be using the euro. And the move that we had in the eurozone on all the pairs in the euro, especially yesterday, the euro dollar, and has been basically magnificent. They moved yesterday in the euro. Log in again because everybody's was yesterday the trade that we had in the euro was over 135 pips just on one trade in the euro yesterday. So every morning I'm saying this because there is a reason I'm saying this. I'm not telling you how. Every morning, guys, if you wake up, put on one of those financial news channels and listen to what these guys are saying, and go to the instrument they're talking about. If it is not doing what they say it should do, then go and buy it. If somebody tells you like yesterday, like Thursday, this is, I kid you not, I kid you not. I'll show you the trade that we had yesterday in the euro. I kid you not. Look at this. Look at this. This is the trade that we had in the euro yesterday. 100 from right here. I'll put it for you. 160 pips or 130 pips. And we focused last week on the euro, and we focused this week on the euro, and then all what we did, we went to our auto workspace, we put on the euro pairs, and that is the trade. Look at this. This is yesterday. We started buying it over here at 140. We took profits over here on the first trade. Then we bought it again over here. We took profits over there. And then we took it towards the end. So we had 3 trades yesterday in the euro, all of them making an average of 130 pips on the trade. And the reason we chose the euro is that everybody was pontificating that it should crash. And anyway, so let's go back. And again, that's what you want to be focusing on in the morning, at least to do your portfolio selection of what you're going to be trading in the day. So, having said that, of course you can see how powerful the euro is, and it should now be still our focus. The only concern I have is that it closed pretty much at the 146.42, which is pretty much near the high, but it is a good close and should indicate that we should have a continuation again in the strength in the euro. So the euro today or this week has been very strong. If you look at the second pair, which is the yen, this, what we see on the yen over here, trading above the 124, it's actually 78, and coming back to close the week at 124.60, I can consider it in a way a negative signal for the euro, for the yen. Okay, so I will take that as a weak sell signal. So the euro, I have a buy on the euro, and I also have a kind of a slightly weak on the yen. So I need to be looking at slightly bearish on the yen, but focus primarily on being long or buying the euro unless it changes its mind. If we look at the dollar, as you can see, unfortunately the dollar is in in a free fall, and it has closed the week near the low of the week at about 73.80, and it is now pushing down towards the low. So we have to be again negative on the dollar, but the extreme negativity, we need to keep that in mind because it's too negative, so we need to be cautious about that, and we'll identify that's the British pound. The British pound is positive to neutral, so I'm just going to put the dollar here in our hierarchy. So the dollar, according to this, is the weakest. The pound is I'll just make it one. The pound is kind of neutral because it is, as you can see, it is in the middle of nowhere. We had a slide in the beginning of the week, and this push up that you see here is more, I would perceive, more dollar weakness than it is pound strength, and we will see that with the crosses with the pound. If you look at the Swiss, the Swiss is in a world of its own, and again it is now trading on the premise of it being a safe haven, and therefore it should be moving in the same direction as gold. Now they are a safe haven. They see that the US economy is coming down, they see that the unemployment is rising, and they see that the US stock market, as you are going to see in a minute, is already, the S&P and the Dow Jones have turned negative, and we are already, as you can see on the strategy, we are short from yesterday. We took it short yesterday at 1,302. That's the signal right there. We took it yesterday, so we're short from 113.02. That's our short price, and we took it yesterday, and now it is trading at 12.95. These are our positions. So we're long the Swiss and we're long the bonds, and that is the so they see now they're exiting because of the dollar weakness. They're exiting from the US stock market, and they are putting their money in bonds, and they're putting their money in the Swiss franc, and they're putting their money in the euro, and again as a reaction to the move, and they're not too excited about the pounds. So let's see the British pound, and this is the Australian. As far as I'm concerned, this is similar to the yen, a weak sell signal. So if I'm going to set up the hierarchy, where is my hierarchy? Where did I put the hierarchy? Okay, so I would say that the yen, I have a weak sell signal in the yen. I also have, I think the Aussie might be stronger than the yen. Let's double check that. I'll just put one. So the Aussie is slightly stronger. It's weak. I have a sell signal, but the sell signal is not, as you can see here. This is the yen. We have a big failure coming back from 78 to 60. That's, I mean, the high that was put in was 93, so it's about that 125 handle coming back 40-50 pips. That would indicate the possibility of that being an initial sell signal for the yen. but we don't have that sell signal pretty much in the Aussie, as you can see over here. So that is I mean, it's not really a strong sell signal, so it's a slight ease off, but it's not that weak. So the weak is the dollar and the Japanese yen. I have both sell signals on them, and of course the Swiss franc is very strong, as you can see over here. So I have a buy signal on this. We have a buy signal on the Swiss, and I will put the Swiss higher than the euro, because the euro is a bounce back of negativity, but the Swiss is moving as a safe haven. So the first one I'm looking at a buyer of to be particularly long is the Swiss, then the euro. I am looking to the bearish the US dollar. I am looking at being a seller of the yen, and I'm also looking at being kind of neutral to the pound. So I will be doing it this way. I'll be looking at selling the dollar Swiss. I will be going long the euro dollar, probably going long going short the Aussie Swiss, maybe going short the pound Swiss, going long the euro pound. So we can go long the euro and sell the pound. We can go long the Swiss and sell the Aussie. We can go long the Swiss and sell the dollar. We can go long Swiss and sell the British pound. And if you look at the Canadian, again it is also kind of a weak, but this here is actually might be considered as a weak buy. But if we're still doing our hierarchy, we should be looking at probably also selling the Canadian, and of course the yen. So we are looking at selling the Swiss yen, we're looking at buying the euro yen, we're looking at maybe if the yen is weak we can do the pound yen, and we can do the Aussie yen. So primarily we want to be short the dollar, okay, but we want to be careful of the extremes. If we can get a snapback or a short covering, we have to be very clear about that. And we want to be long the Swiss, we want to be long the euro. We can choose going long the euro pound, euro Aussie, euro yen, euro dollar. These are 4 good candidates. We can go short the pound Swiss, short the Aussie Swiss, short the yen Swiss, and short the dollar Swiss, i.e. we're going long the Swiss franc, and of course the Canadian would be also one of the candidates to go short. Okay, so this is primarily the hierarchy, and let me save the recording, and if anybody has any question while I'm saving the recording, please feel free to ask.